Daily English Conversation Practice, How to Talk About Yesterday, an English podcast for IELTS Speaking. Hello everyone. Welcome back to SS Express Media, your daily English learning podcast where we turn simple English into powerful speaking confidence. Today, we are going to focus on one of the most important skills for real-life communication and IELTS speaking success, and that is how to talk about yesterday in English naturally and fluently. Think about it. Every day, people ask you simple questions like, what did you do yesterday? How was your day? Did anything interesting happen? What did you eat? Where did you go? And most learners get stuck. They know the words. They understand English. But when they try to speak, their sentences become broken, slow, or unnatural. So today, we will fix that. This is not just a lesson. This is a real daily English conversation training session designed for IELTS speaking improvement, fluency building, and real-life communication. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to talk about your past day confidently, smoothly, and naturally. So stay with me until the end. Let's begin. Part 1. Why talking about yesterday is so important. In real life, most conversations are about the past. People rarely ask only about the present. They say, what did you do yesterday? How was your weekend? Did you go anywhere last night? What happened at school/work? And in the International English Language Testing System speaking test, past tense storytelling is extremely important. Because IELTS examiners are checking. Can you describe events clearly? Can you use past tense correctly? Can you connect ideas smoothly? Can you speak without hesitation? So if you can talk about yesterday fluently, you are automatically improving your IELTS band score. Part 2. The simple structure you must learn. Before speaking, you need a structure. Without structure, your English will feel messy. Use this simple formula. 1. Introduction, time, and general idea. 2. Main activities, what you did. 3. Details, when, where, how. 4. Feelings, your opinion. 5. Closing sentence. Let's break it down. Example structure. Yesterday I. Introduction. Then I. Main activity. After that. Details. I felt. Emotion. Overall. Conclusion. Simple. Powerful. Natural. Part 3. Basic conversation practice. Now let's start speaking practice. Repeat after me slowly. Basic version. Yesterday, I went to school. I studied English. I met my friends. Overall, I felt quite happy and productive. Repeat slowly. This is IELTS level basic speaking. Part 4. Advanced IELTS style speaking. Now let's upgrade your speaking to Band 7+ level. Listen carefully. Repeat line by line. Yesterday, I had a fairly busy and productive day. In the morning, I woke up early and prepared myself for the day ahead. I reviewed some English materials and practiced speaking for a while. After that, I attended my classes where I focused mainly on improving my English skills and participating in classroom discussions. During the break, I had a nice conversation with my friends, where we talked about our studies and future goals. In the afternoon, I returned home and spent some time relaxing while listening to English podcasts and motivational content. Got ready. Attended classes. Studied. Worked. Relaxed. Opinion words. Productive. Interesting. Boring. Tiring. Exciting. Relaxing. Meaningful. Now repeat these words aloud. Part 6. Real-life conversation practice. Now let's simulate a real conversation. Question. What did you do yesterday? Answer. Answer. Overall, I felt quite satisfied because I was able to complete my tasks on time and also spend some quality time learning English. Repeat. Part 7. Story building technique. Now we go deeper. IELTS loves storytelling. Instead of short answers, you must expand your answers. Example. Question. What did you do yesterday? Short answer. I studied English. IELTS answer. Yesterday, I studied English in the morning, and I focused mainly on improving my speaking skills. I practiced pronunciation exercises and also listened to an English podcast to improve my listening ability. Now repeat. This is how you upgrade your band score. To sound fluent, you must connect sentences. Use these. First of all. After that. Then. Later on. Finally. In addition. However. Overall. Example. Yesterday, I woke up early. First of all, I revised my English notes. After that, I attended my classes. Then I practiced speaking with my friends. Finally, I returned home and relaxed. Repeat. This creates flow. Part 9, IELTS Speaking Upgrade Version. Now let's create a Band 8 level answer. Listen carefully. Repeat slowly. Yesterday, I had a very productive and well-organized day. First of all, I woke up early in the morning feeling refreshed and motivated. I spent some time reviewing my English lessons, focusing mainly on speaking and vocabulary improvement. After that, I attended my classes, where I actively participated in discussions and tried to express my ideas in English as much as possible. During the break, I had a meaningful conversation with my friends about our academic goals and future plans, which helped me gain more motivation. Later on, I returned home and dedicated some time to listening to English podcasts, which helped me improve my pronunciation and listening skills. Overall, I felt that it was a highly productive day, and I was satisfied with my progress in English learning. Repeat again. This is Advanced IELTS Speaking Style. Part 10, Common Mistakes Students Make. Many students make these mistakes. 1. Using present tense for past events. Wrong. I go to school yesterday. Step 3. Record yourself, 3 minutes. Step 4. Improve sentences, 5 minutes. Do this every day. After 30 days, your speaking will change dramatically. If you want more daily English speaking practice, IELTS speaking training, and fluency building lessons, keep practicing with us. Keep speaking every day. Keep improving step by step. And always remember, your English becomes fluent the day you stop being afraid to speak. See you in the next podcast lesson. Daily English Conversation Practice How to Talk About Next Day in English Naturally IELTS Speaking Podcast. Hello everyone. Welcome back to SS Express Media, your daily English speaking and IELTS training podcast. Today we are going to learn a very important real-life speaking skill. Backhand index pointing right, how to talk about the next day in English naturally and fluently. Because in daily conversation, we don't only talk about today or yesterday. We often talk about what happened the next day. What did you do the next day? What happened after that? How did you continue your routine? What changed the next day? And in the International English Language Testing System speaking test, using correct time sequence is extremely important. If you can explain next day clearly, your speaking becomes heavy check mark more organized, heavy check mark more natural, heavy check mark more IELTS band 7+ level, heavy check mark more fluent and confident. So today, we will train your speaking step by step. Let's begin. Part 1. What does next day mean in English speaking? Next day means backhand index pointing right the day after yesterday. Backhand index pointing right the following day. Backhand index pointing right the day after an event. For example, yesterday I studied English. The next day, I practiced speaking. Simple. But most students make a mistake. They only say, cross mark, next day I go school. Cross mark, next day I do study. This is incorrect. Correct English is heavy check mark, the next day, I went to school. Heavy check mark, the next day, I studied. Remember, backhand index pointing right always use past tense when talking about the next day of a past event. Part 2, Basic Next Day Practice. Repeat after me slowly. The next day, I went to school. The next day, I studied English. The next day, I met my friends. The next day, I stayed at home and rested. Repeat again. This is your foundation. Now slightly improve it. The next day, I went to school as usual and continued my English studies. The next day, I focused more on speaking practice and classroom activities. The next day, I spent time revising my lessons and improving my vocabulary. Repeat slowly. Part 3, Natural Daily Conversation Flow. Now let's connect ideas like real speakers. Yesterday, I had a busy day at school. The next day, I continued my studies and focused more on my English practice. After that, I spent some time revising my lessons at home. Finally, I relaxed in the evening and prepared for the following day. Repeat again. This is Natural English Flow. Part 4, IELTS Band 6+ Speaking Answer. Now listen carefully. Repeat line by line. The next day, I woke up early in the morning feeling motivated and ready to continue my routine. I went to school as usual and focused on my English classes, where I tried to participate actively in discussions. During the break, I talked with my friends about our studies and future plans. After school, I returned home and spent some time revising what I had learned the previous day. Overall, the next day was quite productive, and I felt that I was improving step by step. Repeat again. Part 5, IELTS Band 7 Plus Advanced Answer. Now let's upgrade your speaking. The next day, I started my morning early with a sense of motivation and discipline. I continued my usual routine by going to school, where I paid close attention to my English lessons and actively participated in speaking activities. During the break, I had a meaningful conversation with my classmates regarding our academic progress and future goals, which helped me stay motivated. Practiced. Attended. Opinion words. Productive. Motivating. Meaningful. Busy. Relaxing. Positive. Repeat these words aloud. Part 7. Real conversation practice. Now let's simulate IELTS speaking. Question: what did you do the next day? Answer: the next day, I continued my usual routine by going to school and focusing on my English studies. I tried to participate more in class activities and improve my speaking skills. Repeat. Question: did anything change the next day? Answer: yes, actually. The next day, I felt more motivated and focused on improving my English skills compared to the previous day. I tried to speak more confidently in class. Repeat. Question: how was the next day for you? Answer: overall, the next day was quite productive and meaningful because I was able to continue my studies and improve my learning habits step by step. Repeat. Part 8. Linking past and next day. Now learn how to connect days smoothly. Yesterday, I studied English at home. The next day, I went to school and practiced speaking. After that, I continued revising my lessons in the evening. Finally, I prepared for the following day's activities. Repeat again. This creates natural storytelling. Part 9. Advanced IELTS Story Version. Now listen carefully. Yesterday, I had a productive day where I focused mainly on my English learning and completed several practice exercises. I spent time improving my vocabulary and listening skills. The next day, I continued that progress by applying what I had learned in real classroom situations. I participated in discussions and tried to speak more confidently with my classmates. During the day, I also received feedback from my teacher, which helped me identify areas for improvement. After school, I reviewed my lessons again and practiced speaking at home. Overall, both days were connected in a meaningful learning journey that helped me improve step by step. Repeat slowly. Avoid these. Crossmark next day I go school. Heavy checkmark the next day, I went to school. Crossmark next day, I do study English. Heavy checkmark the next day, I studied English. Crossmark I next day happy. Heavy checkmark the next day, I was happy. Always use past tense plus correct structure. Part 11. Daily Practice Routine. Do this every day. Step 1. Think about yesterday and next day in your mind. Step 2. Speak 5 to 10 sentences aloud. Step 3. Record your voice. Step 4. Correct your mistakes. Step 5. Repeat again. After 30 days. Heavy checkmark your fluency will improve. Heavy checkmark your confidence will increase. Heavy checkmark your IELTS speaking score will rise. Final motivation. Remember this. English speaking is not about perfection. It is about progression. Every time you speak about the next day, you are training your brain to think in English. You are building real communication skills. So don't wait. Don't be afraid. Speak today. Speak tomorrow. Speak every day. Because fluency is built step by step, day by day. This is SS Express Media. If you want more IELTS speaking practice, daily conversation lessons, and fluency training podcasts, keep following, keep practicing, and keep improving. And always remember, your English tomorrow depends on how you speak today. See you in the next lesson.